Welcome to this episode of the Aquarist's Edge, a podcast for home aquarists just like you. Learn more about how to keep a thriving aquarium and discover ideas and tips to give your aquarium the edge. And now, over to our host, Arthur Preston.
Welcome back to the Aquarist's Edge. I'm Art, and today we're going to do a special holiday episode. This time of the year can feel noisy and busy. There are loads of gatherings, messages, end-of-year deadlines, celebrations, and really a general sense that everything is happening all at once. And in the middle of that, there's something quietly different about sitting in front of an aquarium. The lights are on. The fish are doing what they always do, searching, exploring, flaring, grazing, gliding through plants. The filter hums along and time slows down just a little. And so in today's episode, we're going to treat your tanks not as another task on your holiday list, but as a place to reset and reflect. So let's get into the first part of this episode, and that is about turning maintenance into meaning. The word maintenance doesn't sound very magical. It sounds like work, something to get done. But when you step back and look at it, aquarium maintenance is a relationship. You give your time, your effort, and your attention, and in return, the tank gives you calm and beauty and a tiny slice of nature you can visit any day of the year. So let's look at our holiday season tank care as a set of rituals instead of chores. And one of the simplest rituals you can adopt is an intentional end-of-year water change. This can't be a tick-a-box exercise, but rather this should be an opportunity to give your fish clean, fresh water, almost as a kind of thank you for the year. So choose one day near the end of the year. Do your usual water change depending on your routine, and while the tank is draining, take a moment to actually look at it. Which fish grew noticeably this year? Which plants took off? And what has changed in your tank since the beginning of the year? And as you begin to refill your water, double check that the water chemistry is correct, try to match temperature within a couple of degrees to avoid stressing your fish, and watch how the fish respond as fresh water flows in. From a scientific perspective, what you are doing is resetting nitrate levels, diluting dissolved organic compounds, and improving overall water quality. From a psychological perspective, you're making a transition. And if you decide to make this a ritual, an intentional end-of-year water change, leave a comment on the video once you've done that. Maybe leave a comment in your podcast app so that the rest of us can see what it's meant for you to go through this ritual at the end of the year. And did seeing your tank with that mindset change anything for you? The next thing we need to do at the end of the year is an annual calm inspection of all our equipment. It's not meant to be a rushed panic because something broke. It's a quiet, methodical check. We want to check our filters, our heaters, air pumps and air lines, lights. And this ritual is rooted in prevention. Corey McElroy, who many of you will know from Aquarium Co-op, talks a lot about looking for weak links in your system before they fail. It's loose power strips, it's clogged intakes, filters that have slowly lost power. And this mindset embodies the ritual. The goal isn't to replace everything, but to rather notice what might let you down in the next year if it's ignored. Now, another ritual we need to speak about, and it's one, again, I say this often, we have mentioned it several times over the past year, is quiet observation. Most of us spend a lot of time looking at our tanks, but not always observing in a structured way. So turn one of your holiday evenings into a 20 to 30 minute observation ritual. Sit in front of the tank with the lights on. No phone, no multitasking, nothing else. Just watching. Pay attention to how the fish use the space. Which fish are dominant and which are at the margins? Do any fish show subtle signs of stress? Are there dead zones in the flow where debris always settles? And which plants look strong and which are struggling? It's often been said that observation is the foundation of good fish keeping. Before you adjust anything, it's worth simply watching how your layout works as an ecosystem. This ritual can guide your decisions for the coming year more reliably than any impulse purchase ever could. Now, what about your game plan for looking after your tanks during this upcoming holiday season? Let's get practical about this. And we need to recognize that holidays often disrupt routines. People come and go from our homes at different hours. We may be traveling, or we might be at home, but we're out of the regular rhythm. And we know that fish do best when the tank is predictable, even if our calendars aren't. So let's build a simple holiday game plan. Feeding during unpredictable days can happen. And I think it's important to remember that most healthy aquarium adult fish can safely go several days without food. Fish are ectothermic, and their energy use depends on their metabolism, not on what day of the month it is. Overfeeding can harm them far more quickly than underfeeding. So prioritize consistency over generosity. Feed once or twice per day, similar to your usual routine. And smaller portions are safer than those big, let's give them a treat because it's Christmas feedings. Think in minutes, not pinches. Offer only as much food as your fish can completely consume in about 1 to 2 minutes. And again, for many community tanks, 1 food-free day per week can help prevent bloating and give the filter a small break. Let's remember that fish really are professional beggars. They look hungry almost all the time. So remember to feed what is appropriate, not what feels emotionally satisfying in the moment. And, when people visit our homes, they look at our tanks, they're fascinated, and they want us perhaps to, let's say, feed them again, just for fun. Oh, that looks fun, let's give them some more food. Oh, shame, they look hungry. No, we don't fall for that. We do what we need to do as good aquarium keepers. You might not be traveling over this holiday season, but your schedule can still be chaotic. So use a simple timer on your lights, and even if feeding time shifts a little, stable lighting will help maintain a regular day-night rhythm for the fish and the plants. Keep food accessible but measured. Use small spoons or dosing cups so you don't accidentally overfeed them while you're rushing around. If you do happen to travel, then let's figure out what happens to your fish when you're away. For short trips of about 2 to 4 days in a healthy, established tank with adult fish, the simplest option is just not to give them food. Plan a water change a day or 2 before you leave, check your equipment, and then leave the tank alone. For longer trips of a week or more, you really have 3 realistic options. Firstly, you could bring in someone who you trust as a fish sitter, who is well trained and well versed in how to keep your aquarium well maintained and your fish healthy. Pre-portion food into small containers, 1 per feeding, and remind them, no matter how experienced they are, to only feed what's in the 1 container per day with no extras. Leave simple written instructions, including if the fish look hungry, that's normal, don't feed any more. Ask them to send you a quick photo or message so you know that the tank is still running. You could use an automatic feeder, but you do need to test this for at least a week before you leave. Adjust the feeding level until you're happy with how much falls in, and use pellets or granules, which feed more consistently than flakes. Position the feeder above moving water so that the food spreads and doesn't just sit in one spot. Or you could go ahead and use a combination of both these approaches. You could let the auto feeder handle regular meals and have somebody come in to check on equipment but not feed the fish. Remember, it's important to remind ourselves the goal is not just to keep the fish alive while we're away, but to keep them unstressed. And simple, minimal changes usually work better than complicated interventions. During the upcoming holiday, focus on 3 things with regards to your maintenance. Number 1, let's get your water quality right. Make sure you're doing your regular water changes and use a test kit to figure out where the problems may lie and get what you need to resolve those issues. Make sure your filter is functioning well, that the flow looks normal, and perhaps clean the intake sponge or the pre-filter if it looks clogged by rinsing it in old tank water. And then also check that there is agitation on the surface of the water and that the glass is clean. So wipe the inner glass with a scraper or pad so you can still see your fish clearly. I would suggest maybe, depending on your setup, only doing this on the front pane of glass. Many of our invertebrates love a green wall, which will feed them well as well. Also make sure that there's enough surface movement for gas exchange. Now, a lot of hobbyists use this time of the year to treat themselves. or to be treated by others to new aquarium gear. The problem is, it's very easy to buy flashy, exciting items that don't actually solve your real problems. So let's walk through a thoughtful way to choose Aquarius gifts, whether you're buying for yourself or for someone else. Ask yourself, what is the weakest link in my system? What annoys me consistently or often goes wrong in the tank? This could be something like an unreliable filter, poor lighting, no test kit so that you're always guessing, no spare heater or pump so you're only one failure away from a disaster, or perhaps difficult access to clean the tank because of cables or layout. Once you've identified your weak link, you can ask for or invest in something that directly addresses it. There are some categories of gifts that tend to have a big positive impact. Reliable test kits, quality lighting, better filtration, automatic timers for lights, aquascaping tools, and books and educational material come to mind here. They all support stability, clarity, and long-term enjoyment. But there are also gifts that can be risky. They can be very tempting to buy, but they will often result in more trouble than they're worth. The top of the list here is random fish bought as a surprise by a well-meaning family member or a friend. The second one is live plants for someone who has unsuitable lighting or substrate. The third one is to buy chemical fix-all bottles, autoclarifiers, algae cures, and so on. These sometimes mask symptoms without addressing the root cause, so whenever possible, choose gifts that expand capacity and knowledge rather than patch symptoms. And if you receive new gear or books, you can put these into your holiday rituals. A new test kit can become part of your end-of-the-year water testing session. A new aquascaping tool can be used during a gentle refresh of your layout. And a book can become your holiday reading, guiding your projects for the coming year. And in this way, gifts don't just become stuff. They become part of how you relate to your tanks. And let's talk about one of my favorite parts of this holiday season, planning aquarium projects for the new year. And this is where imagination meets realism. My suggestion is a one big project, two small habits way of doing things. Instead of making a long list of resolutions, try this. Choose one big project, for example, starting your first serious planted tank, perhaps with CO2 injection, rescaping an existing tank into a new style, breeding a particular species, or setting up a dedicated tank for a favorite fish. The two small habits could be things that are easily done, for example, testing water once a week with a test kit, doing water changes on the same day every week, logging maintenance observations in a notebook, and quarantining all new fish. The big project will give you something exciting to work towards, and the small habits will quietly improve every tank you own. When you pick your big project, ask yourself, how much time can I realistically give this per week? What's my budget over the next few months? And do I enjoy the idea of the project, or just the idea of having finished it? And if you're fascinated by plants and hardscape, a new aquascape might be perfect. But if you're more into fish behavior, maybe a species-dedicated tank or a breeding project is better. Break your big project into phases: research and design, acquisition, setup and cycling, stocking and adjustment, and enjoyment and refinement. These holiday rituals for your tanks will ensure that your holiday time has purpose with your aquariums, that you are continually refreshing and ensuring that your tanks remain viable, healthy ecosystems for your aquatic inhabitants. If there's one message that I'd love you to take from this episode, it is this: you are allowed to make this hobby gentle. Your tanks don't have to be perfect. You don't have to implement every idea at once, and you don't have to match everyone else's pace or style. You can choose a couple of simple rituals that make you feel connected to your fish. You can set one meaningful project for the year ahead. You can build one or two new habits that make life easier for you and safer for your fish. Folks, I would love to hear from you after this episode. Do you have your own holiday aquarium ritual? Are you planning a specific project for your tanks next year? I want to encourage you to go ahead and leave your comments, leave your stories about what you are doing over this Christmas season, holiday season with your tanks. Leave a comment on the YouTube channel under the video, and please, while you're there, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like the video, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss episodes that are to be published in the future. Secondly, if you are listening on your podcast app, please use the comment section there. Leave a comment, share your stories, share your learnings. We can always learn from each other's experiences, and this is a good thing. It builds our community and helps us learn, become better at what we do. Folks, I really appreciate your ongoing support as always. I look forward to hearing more from you as you prepare to go into the 2025 holiday season. And on that note, Keep learning, keep discovering, and keep enjoying this amazing hobby. Bye for now.
That's it for this episode of the Aquarist Edge. Please consider subscribing to this podcast so that you don't miss further episodes. We would love it if you would also rate and review the podcast, as this helps make it visible to others. Until next time, keep learning and discovering, and keep finding your Aquarist Edge in this captivating and fascinating hobby.